You're having a great morning. Hope you're having a good week. Lots of things going on in my small little world. There's lots of things going on, and I'm sure there's lots of things going on in your worlds too. So today's a good day to pray, right? Today's a good day to practice letting God's peace reign. It takes us just concentrating on that's something because it doesn't happen and then stay that way, right? Every day we have to choose God's peace or the turmoil that's in the world. Every day we have to choose all these things coming at us or just resting in Him. And it's easy to say, let God's peace reign in your heart. It's easy to say, package up your concerns, give them to Him, and then just take His peace. But it's difficult when we want to apply that, right? And so I've got some support for you today. I think I'll call it support. That's probably a good way to call it. I was reading this morning, and I love the Psalms of Ascension, and those are basically the early 20, around the 120s. I'm not sure how far it goes. It goes up to 119 something, right before 119, or run after 119. Starts with 120 to I don't know 130 something, 135 or so, give or take. And they are the psalm. They're called the Psalm of Ascents because they read them, or they didn't carry a Bible with them back then, right? But they quoted them, which meant they memorized them, right? They may have memorized them on the way to Jerusalem, but as they were going to worship every year, these are the psalms that they sang together, that they quoted together, that they, if you dare say, use this word, chanted together, that they prayed together as they were going up to Jerusalem to worship God is for the yearly feast, right? And so the Psalms of Ascent are very interesting, and they have kind of a different flair to them than some of the other more personal ones, right? Because they kind of became the nation's song, if you could say it that way, right? And so, but I noticed this morning I was reading 126, 128, at least. I don't see any others right this second, but they ended with this: peace be on Israel. That was like their prayer, right? Peace be on Israel. Well, I started thinking about that this morning, and I thought, okay, and I'm going to try to hold my thoughts together here and not just run off somewhere because I got so excited. Okay, I know that's hard to believe, but I was like, I started thinking about peace be on Israel, and first thing is I want to say our words have power. I mean, where do our words go? They're just in a breath? Do they just kind of go out of our mouth? They're not really something of substance specifically that we can package them up and send them to someone, right? But do our words come out of our mouth? They're forced with breath that works with all these little mechanisms that God created. There's just an amazing system in there, right? And all these little pieces work together: the lungs, the larynx, the voice box, all of these things work together. Our tongue, everything. They form first in our head. It's just this big system that makes these words. And do they just kind of go out and fall on the floor? Or if we're praying, do they just go out and float up to heaven? you know, what, there's literally power in our words. There's life behind them. And that's why in Proverbs, I believe it's 18:10, it says there's death and life in the power of the tongue. We will eat the fruit of what we say, is what Solomon tells us in Proverbs. So it's so important to guide our words each day. And I need to work on that. Can I just be honest right here? I need to work on that because I get frustrated and I'm like, this is, yeah. And I start getting frustrated and saying things I probably shouldn't say. And when I do, I'm giving the old school way of saying it, a negative vibe, right? Or a positive vibe. Even though those are worldly terms and worldly concepts, there's some truth to that. There's literally power in our words, and we can literally curse something with our words, or we can bless something with our words. And so we want to be careful about our words. We want to be careful what we say to kids. We want to be, because we're speaking, literally speaking into their lives, and we can literally be speaking life into them. Our words are amazing. So I thought about this and I thought, peace be upon Israel. So when they said this, every time they said it, they were praying for peace to be on Israel. But I started putting some pieces, P-I-E-C-E, pieces together about this kind of P-E-A-C-E peace, right? They were praying for peace on Israel. And then I started thinking, but who is Israel? Well, at that time, Israel was a nation, right? They were praying for their nation. They were going to Jerusalem, the capital, and they were coming to a feast to honor God and to worship God every year, right? And Israel was a nation. Israel still is a nation. But where did Israel come from? Israel came from the son of Abraham, who was originally named Jacob, and God changed his name to Israel, right? But that means spiritually, we came from Israel. So when David was praying, peace be upon Israel, when David penned it, or the psalmist penned it, and the people prayed it, they were actually praying for us because words have no bounds. There's no boundaries. We can pray for someone on the other side of the earth, and God can answer. Our words reach his ears. Of course, our words reach his ears before they even become words, right? But our words have power in them. We can curse ourselves, or we can bless ourselves just by the things we say. It's indirectly. Maybe we didn't mean to, but we do. But when they were blessing Israel, they were literally blessing us. Let me prove that just for a second, and I'll try to get done here real quick. But the blessing of Abraham was this. In Genesis 12, it says, the Lord said to Abraham, get out of your country, from your family, from your father's house, to a land I will show you. I will make you a great nation. We're part of that nation by faith. I'll show you that in a second. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great. How much greater can us still, it being a household name here in 2023, how much greater can a name get? Almost even the religions that don't truly trust God look to Abraham as their father. Abraham, his name is great, right? Everybody knows Abraham. And you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse him who curses you. And in you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. All. He didn't say all except, most, some, all of the families of the earth are blessed because of Abraham. Now here's the thing. That was so Abraham Jacob was what, two generations down, Isaac and then Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. He became the nation of Israel. Now by faith, because we trust in Abraham, I need an extra Bible marker here. We are Abraham's seed, so we receive that same blessing that God put on Abraham because we are Abraham's children by faith. That's in Galatians 3. In verse 9, it says, in you all the nations will be blessed. He's just reiterating the blessing that Abraham got in Genesis 12 there. So then those who are of faith, point to yourself. That's you. If you're believing in God, you're trusting in God, you're saved, and you're following, you're a follower of Christ, you are Abraham's seed by faith. You are of faith because we're walking in the way. This is the way. If we're walking in the way, then we are of faith, right? And so we are blessed with believing Abraham. You, point to yourself, you are blessed with Abraham. We have the same blessing. Over in the last verse of chapter 3 of Galatians, it says this, if you are Christ's, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So we are the heirs of Abraham. We are part of that family, that eternal, forever family that God promised Abraham from one person. Abraham, now Abraham messed up, had Ishmael. That's a whole nother thing. Okay, Isaac was the chosen one. Isaac was the seed God gave Abraham. Was the father of Jacob, who became Israel. So from one person, we're all connected to God. From one person, we're all connected to Abraham. We are Abraham's seed. And so when they were praying, peace be on Israel, those words rang out throughout eternity because of just the power God put in our words and what we speak, right? And they were, in a sense, play connect the dot here with me. In a sense, they were praying for us to have peace because spiritually we're part of Israel. By faith, we're Abraham's seed, and if we're Abraham's seed, then we're also Jacob's seed. We're also, or Israel, who became Israel. We're also Isaac's seed. We're also la da 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 all the way down. We're part of that blessing, and we're not just part of it; we get it. And so when God blessed Abraham, and bless all the nations, we're part of that, right? So we are, so when they were praying, peace be on Israel, God saw us. Oh, he saw Israel. He saw Israel in the time the Psalms were written. Of course, he saw Israel there, and he saw the nation Israel. But he saw Israel also when he took Jacob and changed his name to Israel too, right? And so, and then he saw that from him, when God said, through you, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. God could see all of those nations, even though they didn't yet exist in time. That's how powerful God is. That's how big God is. However, as big and as powerful as God is, and blessed Abraham, we're reaping the benefit of that because we can still have this peace. We can still have the blessing of Abraham on our lives because we're his seed by faith. God saw us. He saw you when he said all the families of the earth will be blessed, and he could see this multitude of believers that would come through time, right? Does that not just blow your mind? So when they were going to Jerusalem to offer their sacrifice, when they were going to Jerusalem to worship God each year, and they were praying, and they probably, I would imagine, they had these kind of down in sync, so that because they didn't carry books, they didn't have a monitor with the words on it, right? They didn't have a Bible yet, so they memorized them, and so there was probably just a pause right before the, because that's the end of several of these psalms, right? And there's probably this pause, and then that prayer, peace be on Israel. Wow, that's powerful if you really think about it. That means they were praying God's peace would be on you as you became part of spiritual Israel through your faith and through believing through Christ and through the blood of the cross, right? And so they were praying for you, peace be on Israel. So I pray for you today that I pray for all of us. I've got to start that I just understand the magnitude of the blessing of God, that God didn't just, he had all this in mind before he ever said, let there be light. He knew we would be sitting here in 2023 as the seed of Abraham by faith, and we would be realizing, oh, we get his blessing. We get this peace. We get his peace too. And he's like, when he said all the nations will be blessed, he could see us right here in 2023. And he could see anybody past this. I don't even know. I can't even fathom much past this, right? And so we have that same blessing and we have this peace. So they prayed for us when they prayed for Israel. Isn't that amazing? That's just kind of a little connect the dot logic. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, right? I love those, but you might not. Anyway, so I pray that you understand the peace that God has handed down from generation to generation so that you could be blessed with peace today because the nation of Israel prayed for you to have peace. Isn't that cool? I think it is. Have a great day, you guys. Peace out, and I'll see you tomorrow.